So yeah, I think getting people together is going to be a challenge, definitely. You know, I kind of poo poo caca on the idea of trying to get people physically together. And so, I mean, that we might do that maybe once in a while. Well, there's no way. I don't think we're ever going to get anything done if we try and meet exclusively physically, because it's takes time, money, effort, resources for people to get there, right?
Yeah.
So like we got to figure it out how we go about doing it. And then the next thing I think you were talking about is it just a lethargy. Um, Hi Deb, how are you? A lethargy that it's hard to get people to do things, especially if they're working. See, I mean we're not. I'll be retired in January, February. I'll start collecting Social Security, so that makes it easy for me, and now we're starting to finally get some donations, so we're getting kind of carried with that. It'd be better in you know after the holidays, I think. But
Yeah.
you know, it's tough when right now I'm limited with resources. That's one big thing. But I just been spending a lot of time trying to figure out the last I don't know 4 or 5 days, 3, 4, 5 days. Um, like Chuck Ellis had a show on it, and he had this guy who ran as a politician. He ran for a seat in Portland, and you can go watch the episode if you want to. Basically, the guy did a lot of handshaking, knocking doors, trying to talk to people. I guess it did better than picked up some votes, from before as far as I think some Democrats, but um, it's just sort of struck me as that like it's yesterday. What you're doing is yesterday. We're in today, okay? And I mean, today is changing so fast that today is obsolete. You understand what I'm trying to say, guys? We're living in the age of an AI revolution. I mean, you can go into AI and you can say, "Tell me how to use you," and it tells you how to use it. I mean, and it's getting smarter exponentially every single day. I think there's 400 billion parameters in Grok right now. 400 billion. So, I mean, we're dealing with things that, and to me, I don't like the word impossible. And I understand when you say, well, okay, that race is virtually quote unquote impossible to win. I get that old thinking, but there's still that nagging part of me that says, all right, but, I don't want to keep cutting the end of the ham off just because grandma did it because her pan
Yeah.
we find out her pan was too short, right? And we've been sawing off the end of the ham. We shouldn't be doing it anymore. So with whole commando campaigning, the internet, the whole boom of alternative media that's coming up, I just think, man, we got to do things differently and fresh. And I just left a kind of a critical email on John Anderson. He did his first Augusta. What was it, Augusta something? I don't remember.
Oh, Augusta breakdown.
Yeah. Well, we were gonna do a show with like a panel with four of us, and he was all fired up, and he sent me an email. Got excited about it, and then one person didn't show up. We still had 3 out of 4, which I thought was pretty good. And I said, well, we could take notes and pass on what we decided or what we talked about. We canceled it, and I haven't heard anything since. Okay, and so I kind of wrote a little bit of an email tonight, like I said, like, hey, when he came out with his program, I'm like, well, I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. I think that it's dated, right? It felt like listening to a PowerPoint presentation. And I'm interested in this crap. I'm a wonk. I'm a policy wonk, right? And I got bored watching it. And I'm like, this would have been much more effective had he given this to us and like a panel discussion and been teaching three of us, like Richard, myself, and Michael, and us, or whoever else might be on a panel in a setting that's more natural. You read, just fine. Like I said, informative. I love the material, but it just felt to me like so like old school. And that I don't necessarily know all the demographics we need to reach, but I think we need to get really, really smart about trying to figure out how to reach people in way more ways than just the traditional ways, right? That we've got going on. And so that's kind of my feedback into the whole thing is that I don't think we've grasped as a movement the tools that we have available to us just yet.
I agree with you about we need to get younger people involved. I've been working on podcasts, and I got a younger kid who's 20 years younger than me who wants to do this, and he brings a completely different element there. I've been to the Augusta, not the GOP, but the Augusta Republican Party up here. I've been to their thing. I've been to another event down in York County, and they all say the same thing. They're having trouble bringing the younger generation in. If we can get like one or two younger kids with a voice and get them on a podcast, I really feel that we can change that element to bringing different people to it, because I think that's the difference maker with us. Everyone I go to has a lot of like older than me or mid 40s or something like that. There's no young 30-year-olds. There's no young 20-year-olds. They're just really disinterested.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
did anyone? Go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead. You're good.
No, I was just wondering as if you know younger, it's like, did you ever ask what would get them interested? Because I think that's often also like a barrier of entry, that we might have ideas, but are we asking like what would get you interested? What does it take to get you interested in politics in general, but then also in speaking up?
Well, I think what we need to do, guys, is we need to study, and we can do this again, artificial intelligence. Okay, all I have to do is tell it, go study all the young podcasters, okay, out there that might have a conservative bent, and it will give me a list of names and so that we can and an analysis of what they're doing and how they're reaching people. And here's what we need to do: we need to replicate that success that they're having, and of course improve on it. What we need, hey, we got TruthSlinger News Network, right? That's what I do. I produce podcasts for people. And so, what we need is a star. That's what we need, right? We need somebody that's up and coming, sharp, hip, maybe real involved in the gaming world, okay? Because that gaming shit, man, that's the way a lot of these live streamers started, man, was in the gaming world, and talking about politics while playing, whatever the hell they're playing, Call of Duty or whatever.
Just so you're aware, I actually am a gamer. I'm 45. I don't stream that much anymore. My son's more into streaming, and my buddy, who's 20 years younger than me, that we've been trying to work on this podcast with, is also a gamer as well. And we were hoping, it's funny you say this, we're hoping to make politics fun for these younger kids.
Okay.
That's what we need to work on, is make politics fun. Honestly, Truth, the biggest thing holding me up, you put me in front of a boiler, man, ask me to build something, I'll do it. You put me in front of a computer, I am like Zoolander from that scene where the files are in the computer and they're
I love
that show.
I think that me and this kid have a good opportunity, because he was talking to his family and his friends about it. And I really think it's something in Maine that'll take off. You got two guys who are 20 years apart. You got two same political views, but also he brings a completely different element to it.
Oh, yeah.
He's not your average 20-year-old, and he's extremely smart for his age, and I think sitting down with that, he says, I want to make this fun. He wants Mainers. What do young kids in Maine like to do? They A, like video games, B, they like guns, and stuff like that. So you want to talk about your Second Amendment. You want to do a segment on guns, and we want to build an AR-15 live in a live stream and talk about why our Second Amendment is important at the same time. And I think that would make a lot of people interested. What do you guys think?
Oh, I think that's hot, dude. I think that's hot as shit. I love it. I just love it. Yeah, and we can, if we get a kid, and then we get him as a host, and we start getting him bringing on younger voices as well, man, this could be great. I mean, it's one thing to have the two perspectives 20 years apart is great. I'm going to be talking to a guy who's younger than me, David Patrick. He's a black guy who's a bit of a liberal. So it's going to be kind of a point-counterpoint sort of thing, which is going to be good as well, right? And I'm really trying to get him to do a show with me. He's a bit slippery, right? Because, his positions aren't as defendable as mine are, right? So he's a little nervous about that, and I'm trying to let him know that I'm not going to kill him, beat him up and eat him alive.
That's okay. When you do a podcast, every once in a while, so I took a podcast class, and it's exactly what you talked about. That's a perfect thing because you want to hear two sides of it. Because sometimes just hearing two different sides, or even another narrative that's not a conservative or an ultra conservative narrative, you're hearing someone outside, and then you're bouncing points off each other. Now, perfect example is this kid's was I think abortion is a woman's has nothing to do with a man. I'm like, I disagree. I threw out my ideas at him. He threw out his, and then he goes, I'm like, mine's religious. First off, I'm Catholic. And he's like, well, I've never heard that point before. So I went into it. And he came in the next day. He went home, talked to his girlfriend, and then he came back. He's like, you know what, dude? He's like, I kind of see your point.
Oh.
And my sticking point was something different. I don't need to get into it now, but like, he's like, I see your point. And it's that type of shit. You see, you don't see that. You basically say, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. Excuse the language. And that's how everybody sees liberals and conservatives, or liberals, Republicans, and blah, blah, blah. And to get the two different points of view, we need to, because we all are screaming the same shit most of the time.
Right. Right. And
Right.
here's the thing, okay? It's very similar to evangelism, guys. It's very, there's a parallel here to Christian evangelism. Okay, this is who are you going to evangelize? Who are you going to be talking to when we're sitting in an echo chamber? There's nobody to evangelize to, right? We need to be talking to other people, because if, like on Fox News, that Leo Terrell, you remember Leo Terrell went Leo 2.0, right? He flipped, and there have been a number of prominent voices flipped, and they're only flipped through engaging in conversation, right? And so that's what we've got to do, and that's why I want to avoid at all costs, only because it's like we have to be able to reach out to the reasonable people that perhaps have been misled. I mean, look what happened today. Joe Biden has been lying about pardoning his son Hunter Biden until just this weekend, and then all of a sudden it's like he pardons him, right? How many people do you suppose that disillusioned in the Democratic Party right now? I'm sure a hell of a lot of them, don't you think? So I think we need to capitalize on that, I guess is what I'm saying. And I love the idea of youth, man. We don't need a bunch of crotchety old men. I think I appeal to younger men as well, because I'm kind of raunchy a little bit, and I'm not your typical Christian, and I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind and rant and shit like that. And I think some younger men that get off on that, they're like into the testosterone thing perhaps. But I'm not going to be as effective as a younger guy, a younger conservative voice. We got to find somebody.
I got somebody for you.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
guys, I heard you guys. I got here late. Sorry, I've been dealing with some stuff. I had to get my kid and stuff. But I like the ideas of roundtables too. Like every once in a while, of like multiple people, because you get multiple ideas. Where do you guys think that, in a main place, that would work? And then the other thing is, a lot of people have left the news. I was reading some statistics. Podcasts are going to played a major role in this last election.
yep. Oh,
There's the next two elections. Podcasts are going to play the 90% of the role in most upcoming elections. The news is dead.
yeah.
A lot of
Credibility is completely shot.
yeah, and the news statistics before and after the election, NBC, I think, was averaging only 800,000 average viewers for the whole month. CNN, I think, was 1 million. And it got a less from, I think the lowest was MSNBC with 800,000.
Yeah.
Like
last night, it was 30,000 viewers. 30,000 for MSNBC yesterday.
Yeah. See, people aren't watching anymore because they know when we hear it that people aren't watching anything anymore. So again, I think there's a large opportunity for us to step into that light. And I do agree. I think we need to get the younger kids involved. And I did download OBS Studios, and
Welcome to all our ex-viewers,
so
guys.
I'm hoping to get
John
some
O,
type of
Mayo Monkey,
something to go
Deb,
with this
good to see
and
you.
bring this kid to the table, because I think it would help out our movement a lot.
Yeah, another thing that I'm noticing as well,
Don't,
you've
but
got
I'll get a list.
people like here in my county, in Piscataquis County, we have a GOP town chair for Milo here. I never even heard of the guy. Like he's not I don't know what he does. He doesn't do shit for all I know. He's not out there trying to, have meetings in the town. He's not trying to get the youth engaged in politics. He's just taking up a space on a piece of paper. That's
But
it.
they get paid to take up space. That's what these guys are. Like Maine is becoming like literally where a lot of Republicans come and just sit here and people get used to it. Like I posted on Twitter a little while ago about from when I'm looking into these elections, man, all these elections are geared towards rich people and people who've been in the system forever because they don't have to do half the stuff that someone like me wants to go out and run for a Senate seat, let's say. I need 100,000 vote signatures just to get my name recognized. Then you got to factor in raising all this money that these people already all got,
Right.
which is extremely hard nowadays under the Biden economics economy. And then what? If you're lucky, you'll get in with the NRA or you'll get in with the right meeting at the right time and you get recognized. You're right. Susan Collins is going to railroad anybody who runs because they're not going to have that money. And it sucks. That needs to change, first off.
Yeah, well, the thing is somehow pulling an upset, okay, and getting in there in order to be able to, and then, hold certain people's feet to the fire in the GOP in order to get legislation changed so that it becomes easier to run candidates and it doesn't take old money. Because that's the whole thing. You gotta have old money or you gotta have new money, right? You gotta, like, who knows? I mean, we might be able to catch, Elon Musk's here, right? I mean, this day and age, you never know. But again, yeah, I mean, that's not likely to happen, and we need to somehow lower the barrier to be able to enter into some of these races, and some of the archaic. Holy crap! What is he got to carry around shit in every county? You got to go to the county registrar or whatever, or the town clerk, and get a piece of paper, and then go around and get people to knock on doors and sign shit in order to, get signatures
And
for things.
those are some of the things that I've been thinking about and just affecting change, just generally speaking, not necessarily unseating the current politicians or the current, representatives and so on, but really just bringing the party together, um, gearing it towards America first, really making change in that aspect. So technology, unifying our county seats, unifying our party, unifying the state of Maine. Those are the sorts of things that I think are very important. So we can look at the very quick, very tangible, let's get a new governor, let's get a new representative, let's get this. However, it's a lot of work, and I think that if we can start identifying things that would make a difference. So yeah, sure, bring some younger talent on board, bring some money on board, bring some well, we're doing it. We're bringing the state of Maine to light. Susan Collins is doing that for us. Shelley Pingree's doing that for us. It's putting the state of affairs in Maine on the front page of the newspapers nationally, and people are starting to understand what the state of Maine is dealing with, and we need to affect that change. So allow the gears of the political parties to grind to a halt, but we, I think, as kind of maybe a group, we need to start identifying the things that are going to make an effective change in the future. So once again, technology. How can we utilize technology? How can we utilize our young youth? How can we set up the next administration and the next administrations to come for success to gain some major ground in Maine and continue the momentum forward? We've been swept in the rears, and we are losing the battle day in and day out. And all we need to do is look at the county, the state GOP websites, and I know that's a tune that I've been singing, but that it's just evident that no one is really thinking about technology or thinking about the youth, thinking about representing the constituents, the people of Maine, to empower them to speak up and to take a stance and push a narrative to the finish line. That's kind of a couple of thoughts that I've been having all along now, And that's what really one of the motivating factors that I had with saying, hey, is there a group out there we can gather some thoughts and put some effort into. These are the reasons why, and these are the kind of the passionate ideas. And Tim, you were saying that earlier, the youth and the technology using AI, those are all kind of consistent themes, and I think that's all important.
Yeah. I totally agree. And really, what I think we need to do is we need to develop a platform. I think we need to figure out what the hell it is that this organization that we all sort of stand for and can agree on, right? And then what we need to do is figure out how to build coalitions. And then the next thing is to say, well, maybe we go outside the two-party system. Maybe the GOP just isn't going to cut it, right? And you know what? It's like third party won't win. Well, listen, we got ranked choice voting. Why can't we use it to our advantage? The campaign could work. It just could. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the hell it is we got to do to go viral, but I'm not. I believe it's there. It could be there.
Yeah,
You know,
and I agree with you totally. If you look at the unions or you look at the Teachers Association, you look at the Hospital Association, you look at any of these big groups, they have enough power to swing policies, right? So the policymakers are thinking about the teachers, the nurses, the doctors, the lawyers. They're thinking about them. Why couldn't they think of PineTree Patriots the same way, And it's with the enough voices, enough bodies, enough squeaky wheels, we can affect change, and that's, in my opinion, it doesn't matter what political party, wink, wink, but what political party really picks up the America First platform. All I care about is that Maine comes to the top again, and the Maine people are represented, and not under the uniparty that's there right now.
fortunately, we have a lot of people in Maine. We have a couple big problems with that. One is the illegal voting, which is obvious, which I'm hoping will be cleaned up in the first year and not affect second election. The other problem is out-of-state kids who go to college who vote in these elections from out of states. The other problem is people who own houses here but don't live here full time still vote, and that's no one ever talks about that. No one talks about the people that live in New York, Massachusetts, that mail their vote in just so they can retain, their right to think that they can vote in a state election that they don't live in full time or reside in. That's the big thing. Now, you were talking about going viral, Truth. I had an idea. Whoever we post up or try to find somebody, whoever, if you're gonna beat Susan Collins, there's really only one way I see this happening, and that is we need to pen a letter to Donald Trump. We need to talk about what's going on in the Gulf of Maine, how 90% of Mainers don't want it. You need to basically try to set up a meeting that he's willing to sit down and listen to you, explain to him that you're going to run for Senate and that you've got his vote no matter what. Susan Collins doesn't represent the people of Maine. You get backed by Donald Trump, you will probably get an Elon Musk's ear. You'll probably get a lot more people behind you. You'll get people to recognize you. That's the only way I see us beating Susan Collins.
Yeah, it's a Hail Mary. It's a Hail Mary. I mean,
It's not,
yeah, right. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well,
primarily, even with Trump's backing, Ontario lost, or quote unquote lost, and that, yes, it's important to represent and have his support and so on. Like Truth, you're starting to say, is it's a Hail Mary. It's a big fish to fry, and I think uh, my motivation is more finite. Let's affect some change now. How do we do that? And what bites of the elephant do we need to bite off in order to start the wheels of progress rolling?
And I think that's a very good point. Okay, and what I've always been focused on, obviously, because I run Uncivilized Media Productions, and the TruthSlinger News Network, is that bringing attention to things via the alternative media and the internet is the way to go, right? And so I've been clamoring to say we need people out there. Everybody's got a phone, man. Everybody can go live. Everybody can capture recordings and send them to me, right? There are a lot of things we could do that we need to be doing, and then I think organically, possibly, we're going to get somebody that's going to come out of the woodwork. Like, for example, if we hold town hall in Lewiston, okay, there's a lot more people that are willing to talk now than were before the election, right? And
True.
if Robert Wessels shows up there and he does well at addressing people's concerns and hearing them, well, that's the kind of noise we need. And again, I'm not above publicity stunts, doing crazy shit, standing outside of buildings, yelling at the top of my lungs with a bullhorn, crap like that too. There's all sorts of things that can be done. We just need to think out of the box. And then, like I said, hopefully it will turn somebody on at some point that has got the means to try and do something. That's the only thing. And then, I think we can make change in the short term by at least shaming people into maybe doing some things.
True. That's true. Well, I think there's a lot of too. I noticed also. I noticed in the election here in Augusta, there was no one running against a lot of people. So you didn't realize the mayor was up for grabs, and being a mayor of a town that wants to push certain educations on people can pull a lot of strings in that, I would hope, and in preventing some of that stuff. There's a lot of people in the House who ran uncontested in the past, so maybe starting small is better, and maybe we will get the king's ear or someone's ear at that point.
Yeah, yep. I think it's not a bad approach. I mean, we are a small group now, and we are gaining some momentum, but I don't know that, any one of us, or even if we did, have the monetary resources or the political stance or the social, backing, that any one of us could win against, the king and the queen that are in there now. Or the queens, I'll say. Um, well, yeah, why don't we focus on the smaller stuff? The simple stuff. Let's make a roll call on PineTree Patriots and invite, you know, get on the podcast or any of the above that would help kind of spread the word. And let's do the roll call. Let's try to clean up the PineTree Patriot membership. Make sure the people who are there are active. Make sure everybody's following list is there. Try to get everybody signed up for premium so their voices are louder. Organize a meeting, a meet and greet. Let's get some voices, the friends and family. It's gonna be contagious. It has to be contagious.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're probably betting on that, truth, right? You're probably betting on the fact that it's contagious. Otherwise, you would have said, this podcast thing isn't going to work.
Oh, I'm counting on it. I'm counting.
You're hoping and you're praying, right? You're saying this has got to work.
I have been for 2 years. Listen, for 2 damn years. I started this ago, okay, and I've been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. Why? Because it's in me to do it. I'm supposed to do it. And that's the only way I can explain it. I mean, I prayed for a ministry. I've been praying for a ministry for 20 damned years. I just didn't think that what it was going to be is a fusion of the church and politics together, because I think it's basically the new damn church. I mean, I brought up the evangelism before. This is about recapturing what is right, what is true, what is noble, what is good, what is moral, okay? That's been lost and corrupted. That's what we're doing, right? And so it's meant to be. I had this vision. I got no doubt. I wrote a book on spiritual warfare. I was made for this day and time, and I think all of you were. Hmm?
Oh, we're all here for a reason. That's a reason. That's a fact. We're all here for this point in time for a reason. Exactly. The other side of this too is if we actually, as we are all talking, I was thinking is if we can affect, we're only, what is it? The Democrats only control the House in the state of Maine by 2 seats. I think it's 27 to 25 or 23. And then the Senate, I think it's one of these 2 stats is I might have flip-flop it. The Senate in this state is controlled 25 to 23. So it's very close to taking control of the Senate and the House in this state. And then once you get people in there, you can call federal representatives out for not doing their due diligence and not doing what they're supposed to do. You call out towns. That's what pisses me off the most about this is you don't see any politicians. It is career suicide. I saw someone post that. It's true, talking about how come no one's really coming to the aid or wants to run against Susan Collins. It's career suicide. A lot of these people get money from these people, and they're not supposed to say shit. That's unfortunately the reality of what we're dealing with here. But if you get enough podcasts out there to talk about this, it's going to be hard to ignore what's going on in the state. I deal with tradesmen every day for my job, and they all think the same as we do, which blows my mind is how these Democrats won last election. Up here, because there are a lot of people who were sick of Angus King and sick of this one and sick of that one and wanted some new blood in there. And I do feel that's changing. I strongly feel that. So, I think we're doing the right thing and moving in the right direction. I wouldn't be against actually at all doing a Lewiston talking down there, because that town hall would be a great idea, because those people down there are suffering and no one wants to listen to them. Nobody.
Yep, and that's where we need to be, is the place where the mainstream media refuses to cover. We need to cover the tree that fell down in the woods that nobody hears, okay? And done right and correctly, organically, in shifts, we could literally, broadcast all day long from 6 a.m. until midnight or 10 o'clock at night, okay? We had enough podcasters. I believe absolutely that in 2 years that TNN could be like the name in news. We've got more followers by 1,000 than Maine Wire on X. It's crazy.
Well, being loud and I do agree. My son was talking to me about podcasting and YouTubing and gaming. It's just about doing that one thing that gets you that 1 million views.
Right.
And that's the key, he explained to me. You just need to do that one crazy, or in video games, it's like, oh my God, I got 13 kills in one, this round, and that'll get you 1 million views. So we need to think of something that's not super out there, but it's there, and people are going to recognize it. Lewiston could be it. You're going to have to recognize what's going on there. Everybody knows what's going on there. They want to put in a friggin' a Chinese type style building down there. You know what that's going to do to Lewiston? I moved out of Mass for a reason. You can't even drive back home to Mass.
Uh-oh. No, this free Zoom meeting has ended. Oh, there must have been a time limit on this sucker. If so, I don't know if he has a Zoom subscription. That's what they do. Well, that was fun. So, yeah, man, Lewiston, we got to go there. That's where Heather was. Who had her daughter beaten up on the school bus. Yeah. So that was kind of a raw deal for her. And her daughter's traumatized about it, which is completely understandable. I'm going to check and see what's going on over in my messages to see if Jeremy wrote in the group. That was kind of rude. That was actually going really well. I thought we were doing well, covering a lot of good ground. Yeah, that's what happened. It timed out. Oopsie. Yeah, they timed us out. It was a free meeting, which, encourages you to get your business and shit done quickly. And, I don't know, man, my attention span at this time of night was kind of starting to, but it was a good conversation. I really think that I'm really, really, really into the commando shit, We live in a day and age where anything's possible. With God, all things are possible. And again, with AI, with the internet, with viral, with actually being able to live in a world where possibly you could get the attention of Elon Musk. Am I right or am I wrong, guys? I mean, it could happen, right? So where's my live stream full screen? I don't know. I don't know. It really matters. Because I'm tired. I'm tired. I need to go. I need to watch some TV or something. Right. So, yeah. Unfortunately, we live in chains, man. We're slaves to the system until we break the chains. But let my people go, man. We shall be free. One day we shall scream, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty. Free at last, right? All right, guys. 128 people here. Hope you enjoyed it. That's us trying to figure out, our ass from a hole in the ground and where to start. And I think we got a good start. I think we're brainstorming. It was a good session. So I look forward to doing that again. Right? So you guys, we're out of here. TruthSlinger, hippie chick of a day. Bye-bye.